Welcome to another episode of the Practical Tactical Penguin Podcast. I am the Gun Penguin.
I am the Practical Tactical Minimalist. I noticed in our name that I got two of the three.
Yeah, absolutely.
Is it just because it rolls off the tongue better, or?
Yeah, it's kind of hard to say, and I like that. You know, sometimes
when
I'm trying to mention it in a video, it's just, I can barely even get it out. I really like that. It's funny.
It helps you add to your blooper reel, because you're flawless otherwise. It's literally just my name.
Yeah. If only people knew. There's like 2 hours of me saying even dumber shit than I normally do somewhere on a hard disk. Barely able to get through a sentence. You know when you're recording and you have one of those sentences that you just cannot say? Like, it doesn't matter how hard you try. It's just not coming out. I hate when that happens.
Yeah, and it's not even always like a specific word that would be more difficult or like a complicated sentence. It is the weirdest things usually that just trip you up.
Yeah, it's one of those just inexplicable things that happens. Your brain just goes, you know what? I'm not doing this. It just takes a big old shit, and that sentence is not coming out the way that you wrote it. Now, do you do a script?
Sometimes. So for my more like formatted big videos, yes. Like I've recently been rewriting my P365 Project One Gun video because I had to take it down because I got a copyright claim. I was stupid, and at the beginning I really liked the song Merry Axmas by Ice Nine Kills for the opening montage. So I was like, oh, well, I can do less than, the last I heard about copyright, it's less than 30 seconds. So I made sure it was like 29 seconds or whatever, and they still flagged it. So I'm taking that song out, and I was like, oh, well, while I do that, I might as well rewrite the script. So for bigger, more formatted videos, I do make a script, but for most videos that are just like updates and stuff, I kind of just wing it at this point. I think it's more natural. It feels more natural to me.
Yeah, that's fair. You know, your use of that song did completely fall within fair use. That's bullshit. Mm-hmm. But I feel like most copyright claims these days, none of them are legitimate. I don't want to say none, but a lot of them are not legitimate. So really,
yeah.
sucks.
I figured it was a robot or something that snipped it, and it's like, is it worth fighting? I've heard so many horror stories and stuff. It's like, I'll just take the song out and use one of the royalty-free ones.
Yeah. The YouTube copyright thing is getting out of control. I don't know what's going to happen, especially for people who, I don't know, like are full-time critics. Like if you're Red Letter Media or somebody like that, how do you even criticize a modern work? So I don't know.
You can't.
Yeah, you really can't. Not on YouTube.
I know Angry Joe. He does video game reviews, and he had 4 or 5 Halo reviews immediately taken down, and he kept like pulling them down, flipping the visuals, putting watermarks over it, and every single time someone would flag it for copyright infringement.
Yeah, the way Paramount was handling that situation was really, really bad. Basically, anybody who put out a negative review of the Halo show and used any kind of clip or anything, even stills, they flagged it repeatedly. And they're just trying to get anything negative taken off of YouTube, which is just about the fucking worst thing you can do if you're trying to shield yourself from criticism. I can't think of a worse track than a company could take, because now everybody's just going to be mad at them about that. You know, now they look like they know that it's worthy of criticism, you know, whereas before if they just acted like they were above it, they could have said, well, that's just that fucking guy's opinion. But now the fans get to point at them and say, see, you knew, that's why you were pulling the reviews down.
Well, and also it took the criticism away from a show to the parent company. So now when you search Halo, Paramount's like controversy, it's all about how evil Paramount is trying to suppress the little guy's YouTube reviews instead of like, oh yeah, we just didn't like this one show.
Yeah, it was a very stupid move. I still can't believe that they were doing that. I mean, I can, because that's what other companies do.
They get away with it.
I think Disney does that too, as well. Like if you,
yeah, and Nintendo also is notorious for doing that with all of their IP.
Yeah, Nintendo is the worst. Like, are they still at a place where they don't let people do things like speedruns and shit on the internet?
Yeah, last I heard, people don't even like Twitch stream or anything because Nintendo will pull down their video.
God damn, that has to be hurting the brand. Like, all my friends, you know, if I look at the consoles that they're buying, nobody's buying a Switch. You know, that can't be doing Nintendo any favors. What is it? Is it old school management or something? Why are they doing that?
Yeah, I'm almost positive. Yeah, and also there's a difference between like the Western and Eastern idea of marketing, I guess, where I've noticed a lot of American companies are really big on the viral marketing. Like, oh, if a lot of the indie video game companies will send out games and be like, please stream this, because if they get someone like PewDiePie or Markiplier or something to play their game, they're going to see their sales go up. And I think it's just the Eastern side doesn't like that viral marketing. I honestly don't know, because I would assume the same thing. I know a lot of the Switch is doing very well in Japan and China and stuff like that, because portable consoles are a lot more important there. There's even a vibrant community of gamers with the PlayStation Vita still, where that kind of completely died off in America. So I think the Switch is doing well, universally, globally. I just don't think it's doing super hot in America anymore. All the demand kind of died off.
Gotcha. And we're kind of getting to a point with online marketing where, like, I'm not even sure that you would call putting a game in the hands of a streamer viral marketing anymore. At least in the West, that's just marketing at this point. That's the way it's
traditional marketing.
Yeah.
That's basically Olight's entire marketing scheme.
A grenade in every household. Yeah.
Or, honestly, we can talk about that kind of I don't know about you, but I've been seeing across the board the level of sponsored content that is not obviously sponsored, a little bit shadier sponsored content is getting out of hand, where people will be like, oh, this review, this item was sent by the manufacturer, but it's not a paid review. It's like, bro, they let you keep a $3,000 gun. Yeah. That is a form of compensation for a review.
Yeah.
I've been seeing that pretty much across the board.
Yeah.
It wasn't a paid review, but they sent me 6,000 rounds of 5.56 so I could get my round counts up in 1 week.
Hang on 1 second. I've got to find something that I want to read. All right, so I found this email. So last year, Through Night flashlights, you've all seen those getting advertised. They accidentally sent me and a bunch of other gun tubers this email, and they leaked all of our email addresses to each other. And so this thread started, basically making fun of them, and I decided that I was gonna dig into them pretty hard. And so it says the first email is hello. I hope this email finds you well. I'm Jenny from the marketing team at Through Night Flashlights. We are one of the highest quality LED flashlight manufacturers. You sure are, Through Night. Feel free to learn more about us at www.throughnight.com. We would like to offer that we collaborate on a marketing opportunity. If you are interested in using one of our products on your channel, please let us know. Your video is very creatively and attractive to me. Well, you want to fuck my video? We want to cooperate with you soon. I believe we could both benefit from this partnership. I thought you might be interested in working on this item because you have done similar reviews before, and our products can add some diversity to your channel. If you're interested, I'd love to get your take on the project and figure out how we can make it the best it can be for both of us and your audience. We look forward to hearing from you. Best wishes, Jenny. And I responded with, hi, Jenny. It's clear that you're familiar with my channel and watch often. In your lovely email, you mentioned that you find my content creatively and attractive, and that you feel we could both benefit from this partnership. Thank you, but I'm married. Also, I haven't reviewed similar I haven't reviewed similar content in the past. I only review good lights. But if you insist on sending me test products, please mail the package to 123 Internet Street, Chicago, California, 8675309. Sincerely, the Gun Penguin. P.S. How the hell did I end up on this list? Because it's a list of actually large YouTubers. I really had no business being on that list. But anyway, and Jenny responds with, sorry for the inconvenience. We would like to recommend BSS V4 flashlights to you. Please check the attachments. If you're interested, please tell us which one you like to. So anyway, so this is a list of just of all the biggest gun tubers, and inexplicably me, which is really funny as I look at this list. I do not belong on this list at all. But just wanted to share that with y'all because, first of all, how the fuck did they put the gun penguin up here with these other channels? And second of all, I cannot believe that she accidentally leaked everybody's emails. It was quite embarrassing.
That's actually happened with a lot of companies that I remember. I forget who it was, so I don't want to, slander anyone. But a big online retailer did something similar with the Freedom Week magazines. Oh. They ended up sending out I forget which company it was, but that part's not as shocking to me as I am just so impressed by her salesmanship, where she follows up that hard rejection with you should probably still check out this item. Yeah. I think this item in our catalog will be right up your alley. That is A+ textbook salesmanship.
I was also very impressed, but I have to tell you, based on the grammar, I'm not entirely sure that she understood what the fuck I said. So I also want to know that.
Everything's just going through Google Translate.
Yeah. Through Babelfish. Do people still use Babelfish? Is it still 2004?
I haven't heard that. I haven't heard that in forever. Yeah. I don't think so. Because I think I have a few ThruNite flashlights. They're not bad, but that is perfectly demonstrating, I think, what we should talk about for a bit. How, if you know those type, Nitecore or ThruNite or all those, Chinese flashlight companies, they're not massive companies. They're not like a Surefire, right? So if even those types of smaller companies are trying to make beneficial relationships with reviewers, what do you look for in a review for a product, and do you trust YouTube, gun EDC type reviewers to properly disclose their relationships? What do you look for to trust a review, or to find a reviewer that you trust?
Well, I mean, I hate it that we're to this point where I don't think you can trust 90% of what you're seeing, because like you said, everything affects how you feel about the product. Getting to keep the product is a form of payment, as you said. Everything is payment. And that does affect how you view whatever it is that you're reviewing. You're going to look at the thing and you're going to feel the warm and fuzzies about it because it's yours and it was free. So I tend to look for reviewers who aren't glamored by that sort of thing. And you can kind of tell, because if somebody goes, "Whoa, guys, look what came in the mail. It's my brand new free flashlight," then that tells you something about the way that they think about items that they receive, right? I look for people who frankly are really jaded, who have been doing this for a long time, and who maybe are smaller channels that aren't to a point where they're being inundated with these these review requests, frankly. And, folks like you and I have owned so many fucking flashlights over the years that when we get something new, we're like, yeah, that's cool, but I'm just going to throw it in my pocket and hope it doesn't die and then tell you guys what happened to it later. But, somebody who is doing these reviews, if this is their first or second flashlight and they got it for free, I don't trust them to review that correctly. Now that's kind of in the EDC world. I'm looking for people who are jaded EDC veterans who are a bit smaller and are not taking money from these companies. Free products, if you're a jaded asshole, are fine, but if you're not, those can be just as dangerous. On the gun side, I'm looking more for direct evidence. Like, I want to look at the gun and be able to tell how many rounds you fired. Is that in line with what you said? And then I want to see, is your experience with the gun in line with my experience with the gun? So I'll look at a reviewer and see, similar guns that they reviewed to ones that I reviewed, and I want to see if they had similar experiences. Now, I don't want their opinions to be the same as mine. That's dumb. I want to go, oh yeah, no, we didn't agree on that, so I'm not watching you. But let's say there's a gun that I know that has a certain technical flaw. If they didn't mention that, and it looks like they only put 200 rounds through it, and they're telling people that this is the greatest gun ever in all of gun history, and you need to go out and buy 2 of them right this second, that's gonna flag some things for me. And I also am looking for reviewers who say negative things. I don't want a reviewer who is overwhelmingly positive about everything. Like, that's because you're a gun reviewer. You're not doing anyone any favors by being all, sugar plums and rosebuds about everything. Like that's not fucking helping anybody. They're here for an honest review, and I don't like the Sootch style either, where it's like, well,
2 thumbs way up.
Yeah, exactly. Where it doesn't matter what he's reviewing. It's like the new Sky PX7 Generation 2. Let's dive into it. And it's like, it's obviously a piece of shit. And he's pointing to it and he's like, this is the trigger. It pulls rearward. These are the sights. You aim with them. And you're like, okay, cool, but what's the meat of this? Like, do you like the sights? Is the trigger good? Like, what are you thinking, Sootch? I just hate that style where he's just listing off facts from the fact sheet about the gun and then shooting 50 rounds through it and filming them from different angles. I hate that shit. So what about you? What are your red flags that you're looking at something that's not gonna help you? that's not giving you any new info.
All right, I'm back. I had both kids come in, and then the dog got in, and the dog knocked over the. It's good now.
Okay, cool.
So, what was the question again?
So what are you looking for?
What do I look for?
Yeah, what are you looking for? What are the red flags when you're checking out a new content creator? What gives you the idea that, well, this person's legitimate, I can trust their opinion?
One thing that I primarily look for is what they talk about. So just base view, I click on a video I find interesting or the thumbnail catches my eye, and I'm looking at a video. The format of the video is very important to me. In the last 3 years or so, pretty much every channel to some point, some copies Grand Thumb, right? You have that very basic opening montage and everything. 1 second. The dog literally just opened the door.
I don't know why I think this is so funny. Let's keep this in. This is staying in.
Yeah. The dog literally just opened the door with her nose.
I heard the door.
I don't know how she did that. It must not have closed the whole way, but yeah, all of a sudden I just see her peek in.
I heard the door too. I heard the little. When the latch like moves forward when the door gets pushed.
Yep.
Yeah.
All right. So, everyone basically copies Grand Thumb with the opening, and if I see that, just initially, I'm a little bit skeptical. Some brands, some reviewers do it fantastically, like the Gun Thoughts or Administrative Results. Some people less so. And if I see the Grand Thumb style opening, it sends up a red flag because you're trying to copy something that's been very successful. And it seems to me like putting the cart before the horse and trying to prepare to monetize something that you haven't earned. That might be a little bit inside baseball and critical of me, but like, I don't know. It's just a red flag for me. And then another thing that I look for is if more than 30% of the review is just reading specifications. That's a huge red flag for me because it doesn't take much use of a firearm to get enough ideas and thoughts to fill 10 minutes. And if you have a 10-minute video and 3 or 4 minutes of it is literally just reading the specs, that's a little bit alarming to me that you didn't actually use it the way you said you used it. And then the other thing is how often people put out videos. So if you're a big reviewer and you're a business, a company, which all those big reviewers have become companies and multimedia companies in themselves, that's a little bit suspicious to me because you can't put enough time into a specific item. And then if you're a smaller reviewer and you put out just an obscene amount of videos, all new products, I either worry about where you're getting the products from because it gets expensive very quickly, and also, again, I don't think people are using them as much as they say they're using them. So I guess the content, specifications, if they're trying to ape someone else's style, and then third, if there's too many videos, it makes me a little bit suspicious.
That's fair. And hey, let's talk about that real quick. You mentioned if someone has, a ton of new stuff, like a bunch of stuff that they really shouldn't have, all of a sudden. So that's I forgot to mention, that's something that I look for as well. So anything that you see on my channel, that is from 20 years of gun collecting. you know. Like,
Right.
that's all
Me
my
too,
stuff.
yeah.
Like, it's not, I didn't borrow that from somebody. I didn't get it from the company. That is my personal stuff because I've been doing this for 20 years. And much the same way, I've worked in the music industry for 20 years. So like, I have some wild shit. You know, I've got 10 amps and 15 guitars and 100 pedals because that's what I need for my job. And in much the same way, you know, I also sell firearms, and I've got my FFL, so I'm going to have all kinds of stuff. And, you know, I've been doing this for 20 years, so you build up a huge collection of stuff to review. And I'm reviewing things that I've owned in some cases for years and years and years. And that also gives you a completely different perspective than somebody who's just had something for a week. And it's really cool when you can find that in a review, when someone can tell you what was it like to live with this thing. And so when I do, on the rare case, when I do get sent something for review, like I got sent a Terrain 365 knife, which is a really cool knife, and I would have bought one anyway, but I've tested it for 4 months before I've done the review. They sent it to me in February or January because I needed to live with it for a while and pretend like it was mine. And that also lets the warm and fuzzies wear off too. But this culture that we have where it's like, okay, the fucking new gun's coming out, the review's got to drop on this day, doesn't matter how much time you spent with it, the review has to drop on Monday or you're not going to get as many views as you were going to get otherwise. Fuck all that. Put out the review whenever. Don't play that game. It doesn't matter. Do this the right way. And so, you know, that knife review, I should have had that out in January or February. I'm sure that's what Terrain 365 wanted, but that was not the right way to review that knife, and so that's not what I did. And I'm still testing it now because Terravantium is complicated and I need more information. So when you find somebody who actually owns the stuff, that really, really helps. I've yet to sort of figure out a way that a reviewer can just sort of be sent something and a week later put out a good review. I'm not sure that can even happen. And you've got the Grand Thumb method where they're like, he's like, I shot, 25,000 rounds through this gun. And I'm really suspicious of that. I really don't. I don't buy that one bit, frankly. I just fucking don't, because there's only so much time in the day. We talked about that last time. I don't buy that. So, and the timelines just don't line up. Like, unless he was sent that thing fucking 2 years ago, I don't buy it. And so,
well, and other big reviewers that are equally as big, like the Honest Outlaw and Mac Military Arms Channel and Iraq Veteran 88888 or whatever, they've all said publicly that they had to, even with ammo sponsors, tons of ammo sponsors, several usually ammo sponsors, they still had to cut back their review counts, their review round counts, because they were running out of ammo. And I'm pretty sure Grand Thumb keeps up with them video-wise. So if he was putting thousands and thousands and thousands and thousands of rounds, and we've had several comments where it's like, yeah, but he stacks videos and this could have been a while ago. That is all true, but that doesn't change the financial implications of ammo's been scarce now for almost 3 years.
Yeah.
It's not, if you've tried to make a video or long-term round count anything, I've put over 5,000 rounds through one P365. I've put, I think, like almost 3,000 rounds through the Arrow at this point. I've put over 1,000 rounds through several Glock 42s. I've put over 1,000 rounds through the new P365 and a J-frame, and like I'm financially capped by that,
Yeah.
Like if you're doing his round counts are absurd, and there's been other round counts I've seen recently where Tactical Hive, Miles from Tactical Hive claims he has 50,000 rounds on the first gen P365 with 0 stoppages or parts malfunctions. The manual says to replace the recoil assembly every 2,500 rounds. That gun already, with a properly sprung recoil assembly, is beating itself to death. That is a ton of recoil in a 9mm the size of a Glock 42. Like, that gun needs a stiff recoil spring. So if he had no parts replacements, or like, it just makes 0 sense. And it has like 50,000 views. Everyone's praising it. And it's like, bro, I've literally done that now twice with a P365, not 50,000 rounds, but high round counts for an average person. And like, I was chucking money in parts. At 5,000 rounds, you're supposed to replace all the internal springs. Like, that gun is very susceptible to being undersprung and beating itself to death.
Yeah.
And he's claiming 50,000 rounds? Like, just financially, think about it. Even if you bought that pre-pandemic at, let's say, 180 per thousand, that's still an unbelievable amount of money in one gun, not even considering all the other things he tests, allegedly.
Yeah, and I watched that video, and I'm extremely suspicious.
I think I sent it to you angrily.
Yeah.
I'm like, are you kidding me?
Did. I just don't buy it. And, one of the main reasons that I don't buy it is just the way that guns work. People who think that the quality of a gun and its reliability does not dictate whether or not it malfunctions. It dictates when it malfunctions, right?
And honestly, you can have the best gun in the world. Like, let's say an HKP-30 is the most tested polymer handgun in the world. It went over 80,000 rounds without a single parts malfunction. That doesn't mean without a single stoppage. And also, you could throw junk ammo reloads in there and have malfunction after malfunction.
Yeah.
A lot of malfunctions are regardless of the gun. It could be a bad magazine, an aftermarket magazine, bad ammo. Like, there's a lot of reasons. And normally, within 1,000 rounds, with every gun I have, I think every gun I have, honestly, maybe the P365, but almost every gun I have has had at least one malfunction per 1,000 rounds. It's normally ammo related or magazine related with the P365.
Yeah, and now because I'm very tightly controlling the ammo that I use for tests, I use one of a couple of manufacturers. I am typically so for me the believe it or not, now this is the only gun that I have that legitimately has not malfunctioned. My PPQ and my P30 have never malfunctioned, but everything else has. Even the Beretta 92, which was the most reliable gun that I'd ever tested, it finally malfunctioned. It malfunctioned at I mean, nobody's going to believe this, but it malfunctioned around the 15K mark, and I got
Well, what was the malfunction?
2 stovepipes back to back with Gecko ammo, which
Really?
I know the gun loves, and I just
and that's a very rare one in Berettas because of the wide open ejection port.
Yeah, and it was one round, and then the one immediately after it, the magazine worked later that day. It had worked prior, so I don't know what happened, but it did. 2 stovepipes, and it just kept running after that. And this was before I put the comp on it, so it wasn't the comp.
Right.
So that that was very, very interesting. But with Glocks, I've had malfunctions. My Glock 45, which is my favorite gun, I still love the gun and trust it. It broke a major part at 8,000 rounds. I mean, come on, that's just what happens. And I have to make a video about these things when it happens. But as long as the manufacturer takes care of you, it's fine. As long as they're not CZ, who didn't have any spare parts on hand.
Or a Smith & Wesson often has that problem as well. I had some nightmare stories with Smith & Wesson.
Yeah, so it's not that when I make a video that's complaining about a parts breakage, it's not that the part broke; it's the manufacturer dealt with it badly. The part's going to just break. That's part of gun ownership. So when you buy
anything mechanical, that with guitars and amps and stuff, things break. I had audio problems this morning. Like, things just happen with mechanical items.
And that doesn't dictate the quality of the 365, but the fact is, unless he has the most specialist 365 that has ever existed, there was going to be, even assuming he was replacing the springs on a proper schedule, there would be some kind of malfunction somewhere along the way, just because that's how things work. That's just...
Well, and also, I've noticed a lot of people, like Carry Trainer, Mickey, a Carry Trainer, he has 4 P365s, and his nephew also runs a P365. And just at their last S12 event, I don't know if you follow him on Instagram, but Kanan broke a trigger return spring. And, stuff breaks constantly. And if you're doing the types, that is an absurd round count. And the only way you would believe it is if you've never shot more than 1,000 rounds.
Yeah.
Which I think the majority of viewers on YouTube have never shot over 1,000 rounds. We were talking about that the other day with people looking up reviews and stuff. I don't watch reviews of stuff I already own. I just use the thing I already own. I think a lot of people live vicariously through their collections, and it's not a tool, it's a collection. It's not a hobby. Like, the hobby is the collecting. The hobby is the building the arsenal. It's not using the arsenal. So I've been trying to do 50 rounds a week just because my skills dropped off dramatically in the past 2 years. And I know you have tried very hard to keep up with your main guns. And I think most people don't. I think they just buy the thing and then watch reviews.
Yeah, you're right. And the pandemic, like you said, has made that really, really hard. I mean, so I think for the average person, if it was a truly like a struggle for me, to keep my skills up during the pandemic, because my stockpile ran out after a while from doing reviews, and I started switching to all kinds of other guns, things that I did have ammo for. Like I just shot 32 for a year, and then I just shot 10 millimeter for a year, and I think the average person, they look at the price of 50 rounds and they go, God, 50 rounds. Well, I'm just going to shoot 100 rounds this whole next year. So they look at somebody like that who they don't not understanding the logistics of it, like you said, and they think, well, they're an instructor or whatever, so sure. I mean, I guess. That seems, I shoot 100 rounds a year. I've never had a malfunction. I've never seen somebody else have a malfunction. So sure, they 50,000 rounds. That's fair. Because you don't see,
maybe
100 rounds a year, you're not going to see malfunctions. Like, you're not going to be aware of them, because you're going to clean your gun much more often than somebody who shoots constantly. So you're not going to sort of be aware of that. Like, when I was younger, when I would go through periods where I wouldn't have money for ammo, I would shoot, less than 1,000 rounds a year, and I wouldn't see malfunctions either, really. You just don't in that environment.
We would shoot, I think my dad got his Glock 17, which was the first handgun I ever used or trained with. It was actually the Glock 17 I carried for like 4 years. We would shoot, he would take all of us boys to the range, and we would shoot a magazine each, I want to say. And we would do that at least, usually on our birthday, and then like one other time per year. So 2 times per year for 10 years, I don't know. I probably only shot maybe 500 rounds in like 10 years. And I had never seen, I had to look up, that's how I found James Yeager. I had to look up Glock stoppages and see what they even were called, because I had never seen one.
Yeah, shooting that often, you wouldn't. I mean, that's the sort of thing that only reveals itself, when you're shooting 5,000 to 10,000 rounds a year. And man, I got to tell you, it was painful to cut back. It really was. That's why I started shooting the weird stuff. I really, I psychologically struggled with that, because I'm getting back into it now. Things are getting better, but
yeah, thankfully.
But yeah, for 2 years, I remember just feeling so much less capable. It's not a good feeling.
No, and I'm still significantly worse than I peaked at. And that's why I shot the revolver for like 6 months straight. I shot the Glock 42 for like 6 months straight. Like, I just keep cycling through whatever stockpile I had amassed, because I got through my 9 within. I think both of us, neither of us expected the shortage to be as severe as it was for as long as it's been. So I had a hefty store of 9mm, and I still did classes, and man, I went through that too fast. I wish I had held back a little bit.
Yeah, that's fair. But yeah, like you said, I mean, at the time, it felt like, oh, right around the corner, they're going to sort this out, and we're going to be able to get back to it. And that just, like you said, that just never happened. And even now, there are still some calibers that I just can't find. Like, I would love, it would make my day so much brighter if I could walk into the fucking local gun store and just buy 5 boxes of 38 Special and walk out with them. That or better yet, 357 Magnum. I would be so happy if that would happen.
I need 38 wad cutters so bad.
Yeah, me too. And 44 mag.
Yeah, I haven't seen 44 mag in like a solid 2 years.
Yeah, me either. I have one box. I have one box of 50 44s sitting in my ammo stash right now, and that's really, really sad. But they're the good ones. You could
probably find it online, but after shipping, you'll be paying like $2 per round.
Yeah. It's the cheapest that I've seen is like $50 a box or something. It's obscene, and it's not the stuff that I want to shoot. Like 44 Magnum, some of it ranges from just so weak that you're like, okay, that's fine. All the way up to $3 or $4 a round for the stuff that you actually want to be shooting out of it. And a gun, the Red Hawk is no fun with weenie loads. It's just not enjoyable.
That would be a great shirt or patch. No fun with weenie loads.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah, we need to make that happen. But yeah, hopefully things are getting better.
Weenie Load would also be an awesome punk pop band.
Oh, absolutely. Absolutely, or an ammo load company, you know, that just does awful reloads. The reloads that totally jam your gun, that like the RO sells behind the gun counter at like an old school gun shop. You know, you're like, give me your cheapest 40 Smith & Wesson, and he's like, well, we got weenie loads.
A 10 millimeter that feels like lightly loaded 40.
Yeah, that's right. I
shoot 10 millimeter. I'm so manly.
I hate those ranges like where the RO is just like waiting, staring at the security cameras like, I dare one of you punks to shoot more than one round a second. I got in trouble a few times in the ranges. A few range trips ago, I did get in trouble. I think I mentioned that in a video or something. Yeah, what happened?
It was probably about a year ago. Oh, I don't even remember at this point, but I heard the guy, because I have electronic hearing protection, so you know how it kind of amplifies when things are quiet? Mm-hmm. And the range safety officers were switching out, and I just remember I heard him go, yeah, watch him over there, he's a troublemaker.
Wow. Wow, what a troublemaker.
It's like, yeah, it's like, I've seen your fucking ceiling, bro. With all the holes in the ceiling. Oh, yeah. And I'm shooting a B8 at 25 yards and there's holes in the fucking ceiling. It's like, yeah, I'm the troublemaker.
I hate those old school ranges. I really do. Like that's the kind of shop where you go in and like the dude is telling like some old lady that she needs to buy a snubby as her first gun. It's that kind of place.
Pink or Tiffany blue.
Yeah, those are your two options, ma'am.
Or a muddy. It's like muddy girl camo or something like that.
Fuck.
I saw that was popular for a while.
By the way, I'm looking for a 357 Magnum Ladysmith just to review it. Like just
because they're heavier.
They are heavier, and I thought it would be. That would be really fun. And so I want the Ladysmith so that I can really, really fuck with some people, because that's gonna bother a few people who watch the channel.
Honestly though, I've heard. I think it was Chris at Lucky Gunner. He prefers the Ladysmith because it's a little bit heavier. Yeah. So it takes the snap out of 38 plus speed.
Yeah. I mean that sounds great, and. Because it's heavier, I think the Ladysmith can handle 357. I think I'd be able to make that work, like the SP101,
like a steady diet of it.
Yeah. I think it'd be okay. Because the 442 is amazing, I love it, but you have to train so much to adjust to that recoil. It's like anytime you take 6 months off, you have that moment where you fire the first round. It's like whap, and you go, God damn, is it always like this? Is this what I experience every time I shoot this thing? Yeah, and then you get used to it, and it's all right.
I've noticed as well the snubby aficionados who also shoot one cylinder every 6 months. They will criticize you for mentioning the stout recoil.
Yeah,
it's like, oh, it's not that bad. It's not. It's like, it's not pleasant. All I'm saying is it's not pleasant. It's more than you would assume for the caliber.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, it feels like there's this device that is just built to give you arthritis. Like that's what it feels like every time you fire it. It's all about that shock that goes up your wrist into your forearm. Like that doesn't happen with any other gun, you know. No. It's really sharp and immediate.
Yeah, and then you have your Beretta or your Glock 42 or your P365 and 380, where it's just like a sewing machine.
Yeah.
And then you have a 642 or 442 or 340s, even worse. And it's like, man. Like, I really hope I hit him the first or second time.
No kidding.
Or it's one of those situations where everyone talks about contact shots. I've yet to see a video of a contact shot, but everyone who loves revolvers loves talking about how they can shoot it from a pocket or contact shots.
You know what else?
Never seen it.
Yeah. You know what else will do contact shots that no one talks about? Blowback autos.
Knives.
Yeah, knives. Yeah. Blowback autos, because they don't have the short recoil system.
Yeah, so like the Makarov or your Beretta.
Yeah.
Your Cheetah.
So those will do contact shots too, guys. That said, I mean, I still love snubbies. I love them, but we do need to speak honestly about the discomfort. I'm making a 442 video right now. It's in the editing stage, and I say in the video, you know, I would rather shoot 44 Magnum out of the Red Hawk, full power stuff. Buffalo bore even all day. I would rather shoot it all day than 300 rounds out of the 442.
Yeah, I honestly, just for my hand's sake, and because practicing should still be fun, I max out at about a box per range trip on the 442.
Yeah, that's about my fun limit. I the last couple trips I've shot 100 rounds just because, you know, I was there. I was like, I don't want to have to drive back and another day and shoot this thing, but it gets taxing. And I noticed that after 100 rounds, like the muscles in my hand and in my wrist are sore because you're having to use that Magnum revolver technique it's just, I don't know. It's so hard to convey to people. Like, you know this because you've been shooting revolvers for a long time, but like it's a completely different recoil control technique. And you have to spend a lot of time getting the revolver recoil control stuff down, or it's going to hurt even more. But then your muscles are really sore because of the amount of like concentration and effort that you have to put into controlling it. It just like, it wears your brain out.
Yeah, I've something similar. If people want to try it with their semi-automatic, I've noticed if you dry fire while crushing the grip, like even more so than you would normally do live fire, like really try to crush that grip for like a minute, and like your forearms will be sore, your wrist will be sore. That's kind of what the revolver's like when you. And I've noticed I just get significantly diminishing returns in my practice after about a box. I've gone over 100 as well. Like when I first got it, I was super excited, and I think I shot 150 or 200, and like my knuckle was all like cut open from the cylinder release. My hand was sore for the rest of the day. It's like, that's not fun. I don't think I learned as much after that first box.
Yeah, that's fair. Yeah, that's totally fair. You're all worn out and you're just shooting it just to shoot it.
I call it making noise.
Yeah.
Most people at the range are just making noise.
That is very true. Very expensive noise.
Yeah, now.
And yeah, so it's that video that's going to be out pretty soon, because I know you put out your 442 video, and I really liked it. And I noticed that we're saying a lot of the same stuff, but there's still enough different points that I think both of them would be interesting to people. So I'm going to link to your video below mine, because I think it was really, really good.
Thank you. I'll do the same to you. I don't have any viewers, so it won't be beneficial for you, but I'll still do the same for you.
Hey, I don't have many viewers either. So.
Yeah, you're doing good though. I just think that's like the perfect way to close out the be careful thing, because you and I both used a revolver, little snubby, similar models for a long time, and our results were very similar but also different, and that should also be a sign to you. If you watch 3 or 4 videos and they literally sound interchangeable, those people probably don't have much experience with the gun, number 1, or 2, they're reading it off a sheet that the manufacturer told them to read from.
Yeah, and doing that thing where you watch other people's YouTube videos to be like, what am I supposed to be saying about this right now?
I notice that a lot, and I love watching prepper videos, and I notice that a lot in the prepping videos. One person will do a thing like Aldi's increasing their food prices, and then all of a sudden there's 50 videos all with the similar title, the similar thumbnail, all about food shortages, and Aldi, the German company, it's like, oh, so none of you guys know anything.
Basically. Yeah. Doesn't Sootch have a prepping channel?
Oh, yeah, sensible.
Have you ever watched it? Is it any
sensible.
Good?
Oh, I have indeed. Yes, I have.
Is it the same shit? Is it just like regurgitated nonsense?
It's a lot of like, no, well, yes, but no. It's a lot of like top 25 items you should be prepping, top 5 toiletry items you've forgotten, top 5 MacGyver techniques that will keep you alive, that type of thing.
And it's just him, like, there's really dramatic music. He's like, let's get into it. Item number 25, toilet paper. Now, we all know that your bunghole is going to be dry in the apocalypse. So I'm telling you what, this medicated toilet paper from Prepping Toilet Paper is the best toilet paper I've ever had by 10 rolls. Number 24. Is
and,
it one of those?
Robbie Whedon said that he liked the toilet paper as well.
From Whedon Arms, yeah.
I also gave the toilet paper to these random youths. That we will have a montage of random youths.
Now, let me tell you, we all wiped each other.
I'm pretty sure one of them is like his daughter or something, so I don't want to make fun of her, but like every video, there's like these random kids, and they're all standing in the same position. They all do the same mag dump into nothing. And it's like, oh yeah, the whole family loves this gun, this toilet paper. The whole family loves it. 2 thumbs way up, your bunghole.
And now some footage of me crouching behind a barrel, firing into nothing. That's him. It's this in that video. He's just wiping his ass behind that barrel. Like it's the same camera angle.
Why, oops, daisy! I had a negligent discharge.
Oh shit! Oh, poor Sootch. It's just so funny. Oh, the other person that I've been making fun of lately is God, family, and guns. So like he's got the God and the guns covered, but I haven't seen any family. Like I just feel misled. Did you see any family? I didn't see any family on that channel.
No, the family's not his. The family is the family he's collecting chained up in the basement.
Yeah. To repopulate the world.
Like he has... Yeah, well, after the devil horns and all that stuff, I do think it's a little bit humorous. He kind of has... I love his opening montage in all of his videos. It's like him in a cheap suit shooting like bolt actions and stuff. And then he almost kind of has his style where I was trying to place what it was, but I think the best descriptor I've come up with is he almost kind of looks like, you know, those old revival pastors that come to your... Like, they set up, like, the circus tent and talk about damnation and hellfire and brimstone and stuff. They do that altar call. Everyone come down.
Oh, yeah.
They probably do a few miracles. He looks kind of like that, mixed with, like, an 80s porn director. But not like the 70s, you know, bell-bottoms and porn stash. Like the 80s where they tried to get, like, mafia ties and they had the slick-back hair. And they were wearing a blazer, but it was tucked into jeans. You know, that type of look? And I love his set. His set looks like he walked into like a designer and was like, so I want a set. I want horrible lighting, and I want the background to look like bathroom faux granite.
Yeah, it looks like a fucking...
And the guy was like, oh, I got you, fam.
Yeah.
I got you.
Yeah. Also, speaking of his intro, so it starts with this like poorly recorded and like really poorly played like pentatonic lick. Like it's like I just learned to play a lick. It's literally just the fucking pentatonic scale played backwards, you know? And it's clearly him doing it. Like he didn't get someone better to play that. Like it's definitely him. Like he's playing some youth pastor pentatonic shit. yeah, it's that. It's exactly that. Congratulations, you just played it. And so he plays that, and then it's his video, and he's got this series about the end of times, and he's on episode fucking number 141. Like, how could you have 141 fucking episodes talking about the end of the world? And it's always the end is nigh. Well, it either is or it fucking isn't. It's like God delayed the apocalypse till next week. You know, I checked with him, and you know, I'm sorry guys, but we're having to push it back a couple of days. I'm really sorry. So one more episode this week. And it's that man, really so fucking stupid.
God has been very willy-nilly with the apocalypse since 2012.
Yeah, that's really true.
If you let someone get in the habit of not, you know, fulfilling their plans, they're just going to cancel on everything.
You're right.
And it's like, come on, we've been waiting so long. Imagine what we could have avoided if it just ended in 2012 like it was supposed to.
I see what you're saying. You're saying that God's a fucking liar. That's what you're telling me.
Well, I mean, you know, if the shoe fits.
Yeah, that's what I thought. And also, I love his videos. Like, he's got one video, the title cracked me up. It's called, like, Top 5 Guns from Switzerland or something. And it's like, you don't have 5 guns from Switzerland. What the fuck are you
I saw that video.
About? You don't have 5
Did
guns.
you watch it? I
No, let's look at it right now. No, let's see what his 5 guns from Switzerland are. God, guns. And I still feel really misled. Like, I've looked everywhere for family, and I don't. 56 minutes ago, why 10 horns give their kingdom to the beast. What the fuck does that even mean? Who the fuck are the 10 horns? What the fuck is that? And that's End of Times, fucking episode 142. There have been 142 fucking episodes in this series.
What's his subscribers up to? It was like 200 something last time.
377. God.
Oh, no.
Damn it. Top 5 guns made in Switzerland.
1/3 of a million people.
Oh, that makes me sad.
Are like, yeah, this is not alarming at all.
And all his
maybe it's like watching a train wreck. Like they're subscribed to watch the crazy. Because I did that. I do that with a lot of people. I'm subscribed to Patriot Nurse. I'm subscribed to Yankee Marshal. I'm subscribed to. I just want to keep up, you know. See what the drama. See what's happening. I love watching Patriot Nurse cold read her audience for super chats.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's a favorite. That's a sport almost. Like we need to get in there. We need to get in there and sort of defeat her cold reading. You know, like just really fuck it up. Like that would.
She's really good. I don't think you can. I think she'll just go along with it.
Yeah, she's like. That's a skill, man. Learning to cold read, like that's really a skill.
Yeah, well, it is. I mean, it's a grift as old as time. I watch a tarot reader and she does the same thing.
Oh, who is
She
it?
cold reads and does tarot. I can't remember, but she's great.
God.
She's so good at cold reading.
Send it to me, man. Please send me that. Please send me that.
Yeah, I don't remember what her name is, but I watched a few of her live streams. I'm like, this is awesome. So I click subscribe.
Yeah. No, that's a skill. Okay, so the top 5 best guns made in Switzerland. None of it is shit that he owns except the first one, and I think he owns the. So the first one is the one, of course, is the one that you think it is.
Is it a surplus?
Yeah, of course it is.
Uh,
Every white dad has a surplus Swiss straight pull.
Yeah, it's like what, 7mm or something, Swiss.
Yeah, it's one of those things. When we all know what I'm talking about. The next thing is it's some kind of. Also, all his range footage is him fucking slow firing at like a public range, like an indoor range. It's not.
Yeah, they're all inside.
And he has it's him firing some. He's got next to some kind of CZ75 clone. And then after that, it's just pictures of guns that he likes. It's just photographs of guns made in, just photos of guns made in Switzerland.
I actually looked into getting a 5.52 or the civilian version because all my Counter-Strike and everything. Counter-Strike days, all old Rainbow Six, the originals.
Yeah, I would love to have one as well. I love the operating system. I love...
Do you think is it kind of like the ARX where it hasn't been... implemented on enough. Not implemented. I can't remember.
No, I know what you mean.
Progressed enough.
Yeah. No, it's kind of AK-ish.
Iterated.
Yeah,
that's the word I was looking for.
It's kind of AK-ish. So I would say yes, it has. I think it's more that people just didn't understand that gun. In my opinion, because I think it's a long stroke gas piston, and. Yeah, I may be wrong about that, but yeah, I think it's just kind of AK-ish. I think people just in the West just sort of didn't want that. But every time I've handled one, and I've gotten to shoot them several times, I've always thought, wow, this is excellent. I mean, it's a fantastic rifle. It's another one of those that I'd really like to get a hold of and kind of extensively test and see, like, hey, does this hold up next to an AR, or is it going to be okay? You ever shot like a SCAR or something and had that moment where you're like, oh, this is awful?
No, I've never seen a SCAR in person other than like at the gun store.
Okay, well, I'm shooting the fancy new rifles. 90% of the time, I walk away from it going, well, that was terrible. I just wish I had my Arrow AR-15. It would be better. Mm-hmm. But the SIG is one of the only rifles where I was like, oh yeah, no, I could get used to that. I could, and I had that with the ARX as well, and a couple others over the years where you think, yeah, I could do that. I could make that work for me for sure. The other one is the Tavor. I always think that with the Tavor, I'm like, I could get used to this.
I really want to try the Desert Tech in 5.56. Mm-hmm. I know it's heavy, but I watched the whole series on In Range about problem solving that gun.
Yeah,
and it seems like a neat idea. I just every time with bullpups like the Tavor, because they've had several generations of that now. I think the one I shot was the one prior, not the X95, whatever the last one was. And it was like, yeah, I mean it's neat, but I'm not going to spend $2,500 on it. That's kind of the way I always come back to. It's like when you can build a reliable AR for $1,000, it's really hard to convince me to get any, unless it's like a 1301 or a sub gun that's neat. It's like ARs are, man, they really got it right at this point. 2022 ARs are ideal.
Well, that's the other thing that always comes up with the FNRs, the fancy new rifles, is they is the price. Like even if you find one where you're like, oh, this is not a complete ship fire. Like I like this thing. This is totally okay. You're not going to be able to afford it, so it doesn't really matter. And one of the reasons that I like the ARX is it was so unpopular for a while. Mine had 100 rounds through it when I bought it. I paid $700 for that gun. And
wow, that is a steal.
And so that made a lot of sense, at that point. I was like, oh yeah, I mean, how you can't afford not to at that price. And if you could get a SCAR for $1,500 or something, I'd test all those guns out. But the fact is, like you said, that is a hard sell at that price, and because it's not worth it. You're getting a worse gun
nowadays, like what, $3,000?
Yeah, you're getting a worse gun for 3 times the money. I mean, fuck that. No, thank you.
How's your M5 308 Arrow going?
It's great. I just need to get an optic, and I think, oh man, so I've got a red dot for it, but I really think I want to get the 1-6 Trijicon triangle on a stick, LPVO.
Yeah. Oh, cool.
So what do you think of that?
Oh, I've been eyeing that. I keep waiting. I thought when they released the Credo and stuff that they were going to discontinue the old AccuPowers and AccuPoints, and they haven't yet.
Yeah.
I think I actually want the 1-4 triangle for a little lightweight do-it-all carbine. That's what I was planning on putting on my What Would Stoner Do.
Yeah, that's a good choice.
It's so lightweight, no batteries, pretty rugged and reliable. I love Trijicon products. I don't know. It just seems like a really good do-it-all type. But I was waiting for it to go on sale, and because it was out of stock for a while, and then it came back in stock, and then it was on sale, and I'm like, oh man, it's coming, and then no, it's back up to full price. So I might just have to pull the trigger one of these days and pick one up.
Yeah, people really like those optics. I think that's why they haven't gone away. When you use one for a while, it's tough to stop. Like, that's what I've got on my precision rifle, and whenever I use cheaper scopes, it's not the best scope in terms of features. I mean, it's kind of bland, but what it has going for it is the glass. When you look through that thing, it's the best glass. It's really hard to use something else. Like when I look through a Vortex or something, I'm like, yeah. I mean, it's the glass is good, but it's not like the AccuPoint. And so,
well, and even the price is like very, very competitively priced.
Absolutely,
it's more like a premium red dot and less like a premium scope, because like the 1-8 Vortex, its MSRP is over $3,000.
Yeah, it is.
Granted, they sell for about $2,000, but it's like, geez Louise, man, like that is pricey for a civilian. Where the Trijicon is like under $1,000 usually. That is very competitive for the quality.
And the Trijicon doesn't have the world's busiest reticle. That's the other thing that comes up with that Vortex is just holy shit. There's so much happening in there. Just stop.
Well, and a lot of people because I've watched a few reviews and stuff on the Triangle, and a lot of people don't like it because it blocks the bottom of your target at distance, which is a totally fair criticism. But I'm planning on using it at 1x most of the time anyway. So I think that's another thing to look for going back to reviews, is it could be a perfectly accurate and honest review, but it doesn't apply to you and your use case. So I watch reviews all the time where it's like, yeah, no, that makes total sense. Perfect example, Mike Glover from Fieldcraft Survival, he just posted a review shilling the P320, and in the video he said that the Beretta 92 is the most unreliable manufactured pistol ever.
Yeah, I saw that. That was really funny.
Yeah, it's like, what? And then I realized he was in the military at the tail end of the Beretta. They were shitting the bed like crazy because they were horribly maintained. They were running aftermarket magazines. Like, it makes total sense. The 1911 was a shit show at the end too. The P320 is already a shit show for a lot of the branches and law enforcement agencies. So, like, what he said for him was 100% accurate. As an armorer, he probably has a low respect level for Beretta 92s. However, in my anecdotal personal example, 92s are like one of the most reliable operating systems of any firearm I can think of. There's almost no way for it to fuck up. When you look at like the internals and stuff, like it is a brilliantly designed gun.
Yeah.
So, Mike Glover was correct in his anecdotal frame of reference. He has a lot more experience than I do. He saw a lot of Beretta shit the bed. Makes total sense, but it doesn't apply to me as a civilian who maintains his guns.
Yeah.
So a lot of stuff with like reviews and stuff, it can be totally true, but not apply to you.
You're right. And about that, I asked a friend of mine who served, I said, so tell me what was really happening with the Berettas. And he said, I loved them, but they malfunctioned all the time. And I said, well, tell me a bit more about that. And he said that when you would get one with a new locking block that had the springs replaced, that it would run forever without issue. The problem is, a lot of them, the locking blocks had run for twice what their lifespan was supposed to be, and some of them, like the recoil spring was so weak because it hadn't been changed in so long that the gun would be floppy almost. because the spring was just barely hanging in there. And so, yeah, of course, those guns malfunction. I mean, of course they do. You couldn't do that with anything. You couldn't do that with a Glock. The Glock would malfunction. And the government, first of all, they were using aftermarket locking blocks, which a lot of people don't know that. That's a bad move. But they were never getting replaced. And so, yeah, of course the guns didn't work. And like you said, that doesn't negate your experience or his, but we found that in my experience, that's the most reliable system that I've tested. Like I said, well, the P30 and the PPQ haven't malfunctioned yet, but I have way less rounds through those than I have through my Beretta. You know, my Beretta went 15,000 rounds before it had a malfunction. And I'm sure that the P30 may go further, but I'm just saying that at this point in time, that's the most reliable thing I've tested, and you have to maintain them. So if you're in an environment where you can't maintain them, you need to know, well, if I'm never going to touch my gun, so maybe the Beretta 92 is not the right thing for me. Having both of those experiences gives you good, valuable information. But like you said, neither is negated by the other.
Right. And as we've noted from countless gauntlet tests and sand tests and mud tests and frozen tests, and every single gun will shit the bed. It just depends on when.
And how.
And how catastrophically.
Yeah. Yeah. No, you're absolutely right. I mean, you can make any mechanical system fail. And like, you know, and also too, you can't trust sort of the common knowledge about when something will fail. One of the best examples is the DI AR-15. We have been told repeatedly that it's unreliable. There are so many problems with it. Well, in my experience,
it shits where it eats.
Yeah, exactly. In my experience, it shitting there, it shits all the stuff out of the chamber that could foul up the gun. It's the most reliable system that I've tested, period, in my environment.
Did you notice, because you did an AK test way more recently. I haven't shot an AK in probably like 5 years. I noticed with the AR, within about a magazine, it's pretty much well covered in carbon, but then it never seems to progress. It just cakes on. So, like, it never gets, like, granted, I haven't shot that many rounds through it, but, like, it's had about the same level of grime. It just depends on how hard it is to scrape it off. The longer you wait, the harder it is to scrape it off. Where the AK, I noticed, it builds up. Have you noticed that as well?
Yeah, I have. So one of the things that I found is, as I'm doing a test right now where my main AR-15, I stopped cleaning it 2 years ago. Just stopped. I haven't cleaned it since. I'm just letting the stuff get built up, but I still lube it regularly.
I haven't cleaned mine since I got it.
Yeah, I mean, there's no point I'm finding that it doesn't do you any good, and you can actually damage the gun by over cleaning it. But that's another, that's for a different day. But so the AR really likes to be nasty. It really likes to be nasty, and the AK does too. But like you said, the AK gets a ton of buildup that it can't rub off because of the way the system works. There are only a couple of things that rub, and there's no sort of gas blowing rearward anywhere where it can kind of clean everything out. So once it's on there,
right,
it's on there, and there's no way it's getting off without you taking the gun apart and cleaning it, like you said. So
it's like those two little rails on each side in the trunnions that the bolt rides on.
That's kind of it.
It cakes on there, and then there's enough tolerance on the gas tube, the piston tube, where that didn't ever seem to be a problem. But I noticed, like, the AR, worst case scenario, you just squirt some lube in there and maybe tap the forward assist, and you're good for another few magazines. Where the AK, I would notice the charging handle would want to hang up.
Yeah, and this is going to be really controversial because people are going to say, well, you're testing a PSA AK. You AK fuckers.
I had a Vepr.
Yeah, y'all can't decide whether the PSA AK is great or crap. When it fucks up, you say that, well, it's crappy and that's why. And when I don't like the ergonomics, you say, well, we know the PSA AK is great. So you guys need to make up your fucking minds about that. But also, it's not like that's the only AK I've ever shot. You fuckers. Like, I've shot a ton of AKs over the years. Arsenals and Wassers, which is, I just love saying Wasser. That's so much fun. Wasser.
It sounds almost like it's like a swear or a slur or something.
Yeah.
Wasser.
It's great.
You stupid Wasser.
Stupid Wassers. Yeah, I've shot Wassers, Yugos.
You dumb fat Wasser.
I've shot them all, and a lot of these problems, same problems come up. I'm not saying they're unreliable guns. That's not what I'm saying. I'm just saying that they are not the absolute unstoppable system that people claim they are. Clearly, the unstoppable Russian system is the Makarov. I haven't cleaned one of my Makarovs in 2 years either.
Well, and the nice thing about the Makarov is even if it does malfunction, you've still got a fucking brick to beat someone with.
That's true.
Those things are solid.
That is very true. And it's like, it's so sloppily made and so floppy, and the recoil spring is so stout that I don't it's so powerful it can just move through anything. It doesn't matter anyway.
I love how to disassemble it. You literally just pull the trigger guard down
and yank the back off of it. It's lovely.
And it's like you can do that to like open a beer or whatever.
Yeah.
Russian ingenuity.
Oh, it's amazing. It's an amazing gun.
I do think it's funny that the only buy American people then piss all over American companies making AKs.
Yeah, it's real. The AK people are strange. That's one of the reasons I've delayed putting that out. Is they're insane. Like, those people ain't right.
Yeah, I watched a ton of AK videos before I got my Vepr, and I purposely did not put any videos out. I think it was before my channel, but it's like I had no interest.
Yeah.
And it was like when I would go to a class or something and pull out the AK, it's like all the AK people would come over. It's like, oh no,
yeah,
I don't want to be a part of this group.
I hate to say it.
I just think it's cool, man.
I hate to say it, y'all, but I've been in the gun community for a really long time, 2 decades at this point. The AK people, y'all are the dumbest people that I've encountered, and I'm really sorry. I hate to say it, but like, y'all lack critical thinking skills.
I can actually,
you're dumb.
I can actually contest that.
Who do you think it is?
I think it's the people that turn their other surplus guns into looking like AKs.
Oh yeah, you know what? You win. Although there's a lot of overlap between those two groups. Like, I think one becomes the other with money and time.
Yeah, it just takes time, I think.
Yeah.
You build up enough, and you're like, I'll just get a real AK.
Oh, okay. Speaking of surplus guns, I have a pet peeve here. People are talking about, I'm getting collectible surplus. This is going to be worth a ton of money one day. It's going to be worth a little bit more money, but man, don't fucking...
Yeah.
Your CZ70 that you bought to put in your gun safe, like, just shoot that. Just take it to the range, buddy. You know, I was at the range shooting my CZ70, and someone was like, that's a highly collectible gun. I'm like, no, it's fucking not. Like, I'm going to keep shooting it. I'm sorry, pal, but this is not a highly collectible gun. It's a CZ70. Just it's okay.
Yeah. It's not... That's true. I've heard so many people be like, oh, yeah, I bought 5 of these because it's an investment.
Oh.
It's like, no. No, it's not. I mean, it might be, but I don't know. When I got my Bulgarian Makarov, it was $250, I want to say.
Yeah.
And it sat in the used counter of my local gun shop forever because I got it when I turned 21. It was like my big thing because I wanted to be a Nathan Drake. So I got a Makarov, and the guy was like, oh man, this is so expensive. I'm like, are you kidding me? It's $250. He's like, yeah, but when I looked at them back in the day, they were only $100.
Oh.
Or whatever they were when they were first imported. And so when you were all in the Macs again, I was looking, I'm like, oh, I wonder if I could get another Makarov or something. And they have gotten more expensive, but it's not as much of an investment because the dollar has been devalued about as much as the Makarovs have
I was gonna say
increased in value.
Yeah, I was gonna, and that holds true for a lot of the surplus stuff that's gone up. So it's really not the great investment that it seems like. By the way, speaking of, I have a mint Bulgarian Makarov,
oh yeah, it's beautiful. It's the best condition one I've seen.
It is factory fresh, barely used. And I've been really enjoying taking that to the range because Makarovs changed so much over the course of using them that it's interesting to see what they feel like when they're brand new because they're actually really stiff, but then they wear in to be just the smoothest. It's really enjoyable. I love taking one of my super used ones along and shooting the minty one next to it. But even the minty one is really not worth that much money, you know. And so people were saying, well,
it will be just like tinfoil.
Yeah,
you gotta save your tinfoil and Altoids tins, and someday they'll be worth something.
But that's because I made mine into a lovely hat. That's why it's worth money because my hat is beautiful.
And you put Bakelite all over it, so it matches your gun.
Exactly. I'm looking up the price of Bulgarian Makarovs right now because I'm curious.
I'm gonna guess like $500.
Man, I don't know. Maybe not even. I don't know. Let me see some buy it nows here on Gunbroker. Wow, some of these folks want $900.
Gunbroker has been insane for 3 years.
Bulgarian Makarov in the grease. Wow, in the grease. That's spectacular. In the grease.
That's the name of my sex tape. In the grease.
In the grease. Yeah, here's a Russian IJ-70 selling for $450. So, yeah, I don't think. I think $400 to $500 is about the going rate. Man, I really got lucky though. I did not pay anywhere near that for the ones that I've got. It's like I am now a hardcore like Makarov guy. Like I'm crazy about Makarovs. It's one of my favorite guns ever. Mostly because it's everything that I wanted the AK to be and everything that I thought the AK was going to be. And so the AK really disappointed me. And I don't just mean my PSA AK, you fucking AK weirdos. I mean AKs in general. I first shot one in like 2002 or 2003.
When you said that someone was literally about to type and they were like, "Oh, damn it, okay.
Son of a bitch." Yeah. So I'm sorry, guy out there, but yeah, it's that applies to every AK that I've shot extensively, and I've used them quite extensively. But the Makarov is everything that I expected to get. Pretty good craftsmanship, surprisingly good craftsmanship. It's sort of floppy and weird. It never stops working ever. It's pretty comfortable.
Yeah.
That's what I thought I was getting.
It has like 7 parts.
Yeah, and then the AK is super simple, but it's just not. It's not the foolproof design that I was hoping for.
There really is nothing to go wrong in a Makarov.
No, not really.
Or Makarov.
Yeah, the Makarov. Yeah. Yeah. I'm sure the Ukrainians right now are collecting a lot of dropped a lot of dropped Makarovs and taking them back with them as war trophies. That'll be interesting to see down the line when all of this wraps up. Hopefully they'll be used on some Russian attackers. That's my hope.
Yeah, I was watching Band of Brothers. I try to watch it every year. I don't always, but I try to around this time, because of World War II and all the jazz in June.
Yeah, of course.
But I thought it was so funny. The first 2 or 3 episodes, every person has their collection. So there's the one guy collecting watches. There's the one guy who gets shot in the ass looking for. He keeps trying to get a Luger. And all the people, I was like, oh man, we need to bring back war trophies. That would be so much fun.
I agree. War trophies are an essential part of warfare.
One guy gets a Nazi flag, and they're all comparing who found the biggest flag. And then after Hitler kills himself, they're ransacking Hitler's mansion, and they're all stealing silverware and shit.
The Eagle's Nest. Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah,
and Nixon gets into the wine cellar in the Eagle's Nest. Yeah. Yeah, Hitler had quite a wine collection, I guess, or was that Goering's wine collection? I can't remember. I haven't seen it. I haven't seen it in a while, but I know. I think Goering.
I haven't gotten to that part yet. I just finished. Not Carentan. What was the Bulge? Battle of the Bulge.
Yeah. That's a great episode. Well, man, this was a lot of fun.
They got all their half of them got their legs blown off.
Yeah.
So it's been real exciting.
It was a horrifying battle. Oh man, this was a lot of fun, but I am so hungry. I'm gonna eat my own hands if I don't go have some early lunch here.
Last time you were gonna make an entire feast of animal carcass. What are you doing this time?
Oh, and I did that, and it was excellent. By the way, I'm not gonna. I may go grill today. So I own this workshop, and it's got a grill outside, and so we always go up there and grill on non-work days. It's super fun, but I don't know if I have it in me to do the whole thing, because it's a charcoal grill and it's a whole deal. But may do that. I haven't decided yet. What are you doing today?
I gotta go mow the lawn.
Fuck.
So I'll get to accomplish something, and I'll get to see my handiwork. I need to finish it today because it's gonna be 100 degrees by Wednesday.
Yeah.
So. I'm not doing it then.
Get that shit done now.
Yep.
Oh man, this was a lot of fun. You have a wonderful day.
Thanks. My pleasure as always. Talk to you soon.
See ya.
All right, bye.